Our next speaker is Hannah Mann, the owner and director of Kimberley Pharmacy Service in Western Australia. Kimberley Pharmacy Service operates across 3 pharmacies and around 30 remote clinics across the Kimberley, and there are currently 3 allied health rural generalist trainee pharmacists working in the service. Hannah, your integration of the pathway has been very innovative. Tell us a bit about it and what you've observed to be the benefits of the pathway.
Okay. I guess my initial interest in the pathway was a real sort of desperate need to solve some workforce problems. We had some issues in supporting early career pharmacists, being able to get an experience level that we needed for them to be able to work independently in remote clinics. And it was really hard to get young, energetic, enthusiastic pharmacists very quickly up to where we needed them to be. So we needed to have a way we could do that with some structure, and we could do that with some funding to help us be able to offer those sorts of positions. So I guess what started off as a we need to solve a workforce issue quickly expanded into we need to solve some health issues across Kimberley around pharmacy and around integrating pharmacy better into primary care. So that's sort of what we looked at the pathway positions to be. We really wanted our positions to offer as much experience as possible. And like a lot of rural and remote pharmacies, we all have the same problems. So we've partnered with some pharmacies in far north Queensland. So our pathway pharmacists rotate between the Kimberley and far north Queensland. So they'll do 18 months in the Kimberley and 6 months in North Queensland, and work in community pharmacy, hospital pharmacy, and remote Aboriginal health services and town-based Aboriginal health services. I guess the idea behind it is that we sort of saw that this pathway was a way to sort of develop pharmacy services in rural and remote practice, and sort of see them as sort of ongoing permanent positions, not specifically in the Kimberley, but being able to have pharmacists who were able to work in remote health services anywhere. I think a big thing for us was really giving those early career pharmacists a skill set and the confidence to work in remote communities where you need an experience base to get in the door, and it's really hard. A lot of those roles are often asking for 2 or 3 years experience in remote health, which if you're an early career pharmacist straight out of uni, really want to work rural, you're not going to get positions in Aboriginal health services unless they come through this sort of pathway model. I've been in the Kimberley now for 15 years as a pharmacist, and I came as a student for 7 weeks. So I am a firm believer that getting graduate health professionals into rural positions early in their career is a way to keep people working in rural. I will never go back to working not in remote Australia. So I really wanted to make sure that I guess other early career pharmacists had those opportunities that I had at the start of my career. So we have 3 pathway students at the moment. So in addition to, I guess, working in the pharmacies, we've developed a bunch of project-based work for them as well. So that was really around, we had a lot of things we wanted to do as senior pharmacists, and what I wanted KPS to sort of achieve and contribute to healthcare. And what we were was pretty time poor and pretty resource poor around having the time to be like, well, if we're going to change how we're doing things in pharmacy services, we want to be able to measure the outcomes and do it in a way that we have a model that can be shared. And that's kind of a big part of what our pathway pharmacists are working on. So at the moment, they've just finished, and they've only been with us since January, February and March. So I'm pretty excited at what they've achieved already in their short time. But they've just finished a revamp and an extension of our medication quick reference guide. So we regionally have a reference guide that ties in with our regional protocols and our standard drug list. So they've revamped that, done an extension to it, and included a bunch of other really helpful information so that our nurses and Aboriginal health practitioners have a one-stop shop of here's medication safety issues, here are key counselling points, and here is whether or not that medication is safe to use in pregnancy and breastfeeding in a little quick reference guide that they can carry around with them everywhere they go. So they've just finished the revamp of that, which is super, and it's been something that the region has wanted for a number of years, but we just haven't had the time to do it. The other thing we're working on at the moment is region-wide across all sites, so community controlled and state clinics, being able to develop data collection tools to monitor patients' adherence with medication. So when our health services are wanting to have a look at the impact of something that they do or something that we do, they can readily access sort of the outcome of that in relation to patients' adherence with medicines. And the other thing we've got the working on at the moment, which is really, really, important for our clients, because most of our patients are Aboriginal patients in remote communities, is a redesign of the way medication information is presented on dose administration aid labels, which has been something we've done in the past. PPS did a project a couple of years ago around dosage time and language and how that's presented, with some very interesting results around the real need to tailor how we talk about medications to specific community groups. So they're expanding that project for us now for a full redesign, which is super exciting pieces of work. And I guess as a business owner, these are all really critical things that I just didn't have the staffing to be able to put blocks of time into. And I think all three of those projects which our pathway crew are working on at the moment will be very long-lasting impacts to the whole region, and not just within pharmacy, within Aboriginal health practitioners, within our nursing staff, for our community management to be able to access that sort of information as well. I think they are going to be long-lasting sort of changes to healthcare. I think the other thing that I think is really good with our situation is the rotation between roles. I think early career health professionals want to do a lot and they have a lot to offer. So I think you really need to have an environment where they can do lots of varied roles. KPS has community pharmacies, we have a hospital pharmacy as well, plus the outreach work. So being able to rotate pathway placements through all those roles, so they come out experiencing community pharmacy, hospital pharmacy, remote communities, large town-based Aboriginal health services, and then layer that with not only Aboriginal primary healthcare, but Torres Strait Islander primary healthcare, I think will hopefully equip them to be very valuable team members in any remote or rural health service sort of in the future. I think, for us as well, they have very quickly become very integral to what we do within the pharmacy, but also, I guess, in the wider health space, it's great to be in regional planning meetings where, we get to talk about the fact that we have pathway pharmacists who can work on projects with other organisations and can contribute in a wider way. It's great for pharmacy, but it's also great for the whole community to be able to have those connections of pharmacy being more embedded in the primary care thought processes. For us, they've become a really important part of our team already, and I hope that we get to keep, obviously, placement and pathway students ongoing. I think the ongoing work and the development of these projects will see a real impact, not only from the three that we have at the moment, but ones coming down the line as well. The other, I guess, impact of the pathway program, which I hadn't considered until this year, is that with our advertising of the pathway last year, and sort of word got around that we were doing this sort of 2-year workplace learning work across different sites, Aboriginal Health, North Queensland, it sounds very exciting, is that we've had applications for our intern positions this year from current 4th year students. We've had emails from 3rd year students wanting to apply this year and next year in advance for intern positions, so that their intern position can flow into the pathway, which I think is something that was completely unexpected for me. But I guess it shows just how interested early career health professionals are in this sort of a program, and that for us to be able to kind of look at now at saying, okay, well, if this was a combined intern program and a grad pathway program, what would that actually look like if we had people for 3 years? What would the rotations be? You know, how would that work? So I think that's really exciting, and it was definitely a unexpected, very positive, you know, result of, you know, we're just, you know, very new into rolling out these pathway positions. So I think that was super to be able to have that just as a, you know, an added bonus. So, you know, the hope is not only will we solve our workforce issues, but we'll actually be able to get a bunch of other stuff done for the whole region that we just weren't having, you know, we didn't have the resources to be able to offer, or to be able to do in a way that meant the work we were doing was transferable to other health services outside of KPS. So yeah, so I cannot speak highly enough of the program, and I look forward to its continuation. I think, you know, and, you know, important thing for us is, you know, if it wasn't for Saro and their support, we would not have been able to offer these positions at all. You know, so I think that the work that you guys do is outstanding, because we would not be able to be in a position to offer these places if it wasn't for the support that you guys gave us.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks very much for your presentation.